make sure all of this is off. I know my client gonna call as soon as I get started, but whatever the case. Hello, guys. Hello, hello, hello. I am going to say hit that like button as you come in. I hope that everyone had an awesome weekend. I had an amazing weekend. Because I didn't have a lot to do. So, I am, yeah. So, before we get started, again, like I said, hit that like button. I'm getting ready to share this. Okay, so I sent out some notifications. I don't have time to wait because I gotta go quick because I have to get to work. So, when y'all catch the replay, please hit the like button. As always, if you feel so inclined, you can hit the Cash App, which is pinned below. Cash App is ITSSHUN74. That is It's Shine 74. So I really wasn't going to say anything because I really want to try to stay away from some stuff. But some stuff is just like, what? And this is one of them, what? So, yesterday I, of course, seen a bunch of people on, and everything was just Earl Carter, Earl Carter, Earl Carter. Where is my... Oh, don't tell me I left it in the other car. So, it's, it's just Earl Carter this and Earl Carter that, and he shouldn't do this and he shouldn't do that. Then I start getting text messages of clips, and because William, Larry, and Thais went live, and they just kept... So I said, okay, let me see. I watched a few minutes of it. Here's the thing. So I watched. I see William is upset. Which, of course, you know how it is when you're mad at something or somebody, then your friends are mad at that person also. With I knew that was gonna happen. With you're going to side with your friend. In this instance, I'm trying to figure out how to say it without... Okay, here's the thing. Is it going to ruffle some feathers, what I'm about to say? Probably so. Do I care? Not really. Because I don't... This is my opinion. This is my commentary. And this is just how I feel. So William is very, 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 very upset. He was on the live, like I said, with Thais and Larry. Then he did his own. I did listen to his entire video. I then went and watched Earl Carter at GEI. And let's say this. Earl Carter did say some things in 2014 about the then presiding bishop Blake. Okay, we passed that. He has been ostracized from the Kojic organization. Not that he has stopped preaching, not that he has stopped being invited to places, be it Kojic or otherwise. But to sit and do a live now and talk about how bad Carter talked about people, how bad Carter did this and what Carter said and blase, blase. Okay, we all say stuff. We all say stuff about the church. We all say stuff about pastors. We all say stuff about bishops. We all say stuff about evangelists. We all say stuff. I'm across the board, myself included. But here's my problem. William is not without scandal, allegation, accusation, none of that. And just like Earl Carter said what he said in 2014 and some more stuff, William has been saying things about the church, the bishops, the organization as a whole, himself. In listening to William's video, which we all kind of knew anyway, that these conversations that William speaks of are not one-on-one conversations with other pastors and bishops. These stories and tales come from your passengers. Now, it's different if I have some passengers and I call one of my homies or I call my partner or I talk to my mama like, hey, such and such said, or I heard, or, you know, this was going on, so forth and so on. But to take people's private conversations that they're having amongst themselves and then come out publicly and say, well, I know that this happened because, or I know that this situation happened because, or this happened and such did this and such did that. Those are not personal occurrences. That is hearsay. You can call it gossip if you want to. But you have this information, but you didn't get it firsthand. It's not like you were sitting with the bishops and they told you this, or you saw this, or you was at the bishop's house and this happened, or you and the bishop was in the car and he told you this, and this. That's not how any of that happened. Well, I'm not going to say any of it, but that's not how most of it happened, per William's words, saying that these people get on the bus, the bishops, the evangelists, the mothers, and so forth and so on, that they get on the bus and they spill their guts. And then you come to us with the information as if it is first hand. You made some allegations yesterday about some things that Earl Carter said or did, which was, again, something that someone else told you, not something that you found out or that you got firsthand. And here's my okay. Let me backtrack. So Earl Carter did preach at GEI yesterday. Earl Carter did apologize publicly at GEI with the presiding bishop yesterday. Here's the thing. And this is where I think people get stuff messed up. Just because someone was in leadership position at one point. Let's call it. Bishop Blake was the pastor when Earl Carter said what he said. But at the same time, Earl Carter and Bishop Sheard have been friends. Bishop Sheard is now the presiding prelate. And just like any other company, any other establishment, any other church, yes, when the pastor or the new person becomes, steps into their new position or their leadership role, they kind of stay the same for a minute. But then once they get in and they get their footing in, then they start working towards or on their own agenda. You cannot yes, you are stepping into a position, but you cannot, and they are not going to continue the same thing. Now, the blueprint, the layout, yeah, but the absolute thing that the former presiding bishop or whatever did, that doesn't mean that that person is going to do that. The next person, the presiding bishop may have had a problem, or the former presiding bishop may have had an issue with someone. But that does not mean that when the new presiding bishop steps in, that he has to carry on that same animosity with those other people. That's crazy. That's foolishness. And to ask somebody to do that is diabolical. Okay? Now, let's move on up the road a little bit. So I'm listening to William rant and rave about what Carter did, what Carter said, how Carter moved, what he got on people. Why is this happening? Why? What about me? Here's the thing. William, you have been accused of mismanaging transportation, not once, not twice, not 3 times, not 4 times, with receipts. And instead of these things being clarified, or instead of these things being debunked, or you having proof saying that no, this didn't happen, no, whatever, we've never seen any of that. But yet and still, for almost every convention, you're driving. You've said some crazy stuff about people. You had your own lawsuit for saying crazy stuff about people. But then we don't talk about that. You're upset with people because they talk about you try to be a woman, you try to be feminine, you wear nails, you wear lashes, you wear hair, and instead of an explanation, you start cussing people out. I guess what I'm saying is there's really no difference between Earl Carter and William McCray when it comes to them expressing their feelings about the church or about the organization. There's really no difference in the two. Say what you want to say. I said that there seems to be no difference. Earl Carter says what he wants to say and how he feels, and then William, he gets on, he says what he wants to say, and he does what he wants to do. No difference. There has been plenty, and I tried to find them. I had them, it's in another phone, of people in Atlanta looking for William, wanting to get him. They was looking for William. There were some drug dealer that said he was looking for him because he owed money. There have been accusations of different types of drugs. There's been allegations of homosexual activities going on. All of these, and there has been some receipts to support these accusations made against William. Now, I don't know William. I know William from Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. I don't know William, so I can't tell you what he do with his nose, his mouth, his fingers, his toes. I do see him eat, so I can say that, yeah, William eat. But I can't, I don't know William to say, yeah, he did, yeah, he did, yeah, he did, concrete. Like, I don't. But to be so, I don't even know what word to use. You're that upset and you're that disgruntled and you're so heartbroken over this, and it's a tragedy and all of this because Earl Carter was preaching at the presiding bishop's church. William said that he should have been brought before the board and the people should have known about this before he was put in and all that. Here's the real deal. We don't know what happened because we're not a part of the general board. It could have been something that had been discussed. And if it was a leader who made the decision to kick Earl Carter out or whatever it is, they didn't come before the board and decide that to put him out. Or if they did, I never heard about it. I've never heard a public board meeting to come and put him out. Now, was the decision made? Absolutely. Was it a board decision? Probably so. But I'm not going to say we because I don't really care. But why are people so entitled to that they feel like everything should be run by, or they should know that this happened before it happened, or they should be advised, or because they didn't hear about it, it's not true? What? William, you are the bus driver that they still letting you do regardless to everything. No license, which is got proof of. You've been banned, so you can't rent them yourself. That has been proved. You still ain't spoke on that. You said them people was lying. There are receipts from the rental car companies. This ain't stuff that people didn't just put together and put out there. This is stuff that is actually coming from the people that it happened to and the company that it happened with. But all we get called when we say, okay, so what's this, is we ignorant, we dumb, we stupid, we don't have no life, we ain't nobody, and then say, give me some money. Like, you talked about how bad Earl Carter didn't have no money and him and his wife and all of that, but then you turn around and say stuff like, I need y'all to send me some money so I can get home. I need y'all to send me some money so I can get to here. I need y'all to send me some money for this. And then turn around and say, but I had on a Balenciaga suit, or I had on... Maybe I'm the only one. I'm not, because I've talked to people. But maybe it's like nobody wants to say anything. You just keep going on and on and on and on and on. like nothing has happened. Let's be serious. You talk about dark. This is what I William, Larry took all of your stuff and you talked about him like a dog and you dragged him and Larry this and Larry that and you had this and you had that. But y'all made up. And now everything is fine. That's your brother. You talked about Thais. Now everything is fine. That's your brother. So what is the problem with Earl Carter saying what he said? And then people making up and it being no problem. Because what Larry did to you, some of us feel is way out of pocket. And the fact that you did not get any of your stuff returned to you, I don't think. But you've now been to his house, you've been to his engagements, so it's okay for you to do it, but it's not okay for the presiding bishop or the organization to say, hey, he apologized, we forgive him, let's move forward. We want to hold that over his head continuously? Are we serious? And then here's another thing. And this is, it's like you talk about people doing X, Y, and Z, and then you turn around in the next few seconds and do the same thing. How do you talk? You were on your live calling people darkies, and that's why you like that because you're dark skinned, blah, blah, blah. That you got so much to say about darkies and so much negative to say about darkies, which I think is absurd. And then you turn around and Larry is your brother and your best friend and you love him and he this and he that, but Larry is chocolate. Larry is chocolate. Thais is chocolate. Hey, Derek, thank you. Like, Thais and Larry ain't they just caramel. Nah, they not. They're chocolate. And the way you talk about dark-skinned people and then come to these two dark-skinned people and pretty much, ooh, I don't care. And pretty much use their platform to get money. So it's okay to fool with the darkies when it's beneficial. But when it's not something that you agree with, then because they're dark skinned, that's why they made that decision. Come on, man. Come on, man. I thought we as the church, I thought we as saved people were supposed to forgive. I thought we were supposed to give people another chance. I thought that we were supposed to pray for people and to help people. I thought that's what we were doing. But William is saying Earl Carter needs to just never come back and be a part of Kojic, never be able to preach again, never be able to do this, never be able to do that because of something that he did in 2014. Nah, bro. Nah. The whole holiness thing, and we're not supposed to do this, and we're not supposed to do this. Now, granted, people say some weird stuff. People take the Bible and make the scripture fit them. Earl Carter said yesterday, the wife's body belongs to the husband. That's not the context in which the Bible is talking. Pretty much, you supposed to have sex whenever he want to. You supposed to cook clean, be barefoot, you ain't supposed to say nothing. You're not supposed to disagree. You're not supposed to any of that. That's not the context in what the Bible was speaking. It's the protector. It's the provider. It's the head. It's the, like, it has nothing to do with the bedroom. Now, I will say this about Earl Carter and what he said yesterday. I'm going to say, in fairness to Dr. Earl Carter, he was excited. It's been 11 years since he's been able to freely or be accepted by the Church of God in Christ. So not only was he accepted, I guess, back into the Church of God in Christ, but he was at the presiding bishop's church. So 9 times out of 10, it was anxiety, anxiousness, excitement. I'm sure he had a whole bunch of stuff going through his mind and body, which is one of the reasons why, while he was preaching, it was all over the place, because there's been so much bottled up for this 11 years that he has wanted to say, and he now had that opportunity to say it. So yeah, he kind of tried to get everything out at one time. The next time y'all hear him, everything could pretty much be straight. But what I don't understand and what I don't agree with is, how do we continue to get up? And I'm going to keep saying this. How do we continue? How do they continue to keep getting up in the pulpit, and only thing they talk about is how women dress and homosexuals? Again, leaving out the perversion of leadership. And when I say perversion, I'm not talking about homosexuality. I am talking about men, these preachers, being convicted of SAing teenagers and kids. Okay? He talked about he tired of seeing men in tight suits. Well, sir, how long have you been alive? Because I remember there's not a male group, especially a part of Motown. I'm going to say Motown because I'm from Detroit. There is not a Motown artist that didn't have on a tight, shiny, flooded suit. There is not a preacher or pastor in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and early 90s that did not have on a 3-piece or a double-breasted, shiny suit with some alligators or some snakeskin shoes. The zoot suits, as we started calling them, that started emerging around the late 90s, which came from hip-hop, because they started wearing oversized clothes. Then came the oversized suits, the long suit with long suit jackets that used to come down almost to the kneecap, the 3/4 jackets. Then them came out. And then after that, then the bow ties came back. None of this stuff is new. Jasper Williams, C.L. Franklin, James Cleveland, let me think of some older preachers, Clay Evans, Milton Brunson, all of these people, they wore tight, shiny suits. It's coming back around. They wore tight suits longer than they wore the big suits. And at one point, suits didn't even come into play because all the preachers had on robes. Women's clothing have always been tight and revealing. one of these preachers go into one of these women's stores, see what the style is, because everything is a cleavage shirt or tight in the waist. All pants are tight. You got your jeggings, your leggings, your beggings, all of these things. Everything is revealing now. You don't even have the things that used to block all of this stuff that women wore up under our skirts, the slips and camisoles and all of that. Go in the store and try to find one. Go into the store and try to find one. I got one better for you. Go in the store and try to find some pantyhose and tell me how you do. But again, it is stuff that people saying that they are tired of. William is talking, I'm tired of these faggots and sissies walking around here with tight clothes on, and these girls with tight clothes on. But then you got on tight clothes and we can see your breasts and we can see your bulge and your tightness of your pants, and you can't hardly sit down, or if you do sit down, you got to sit like this because you can't hardly move because your suit is too tight or the vest is too tight, and you got on a big hat. Nails, lashes, your eyebrows are threaded. That is all woman's stuff. But that is what you're doing. And you say, well, how can y'all be mad at me for being who I am? This is who I was made to be. But then in the same breath, turn around and talk about the exact same thing. You said they asked you if you was gay. It depends on what day it is. It depends on what I want. Then you turn around and talk about all the, faggots and all, like, where do we get this stuff from? I said I didn't want to talk about this, but I just keep hearing about it, and it's so irritating and it's so frustrating when you see a person, but it comes along with kind of that group right in there. Y'all say stuff and y'all talk about people and you nitpick, and then when people come back and say something about you or to you, then you're being picked on. Well, I don't know why they saying this. Because if you didn't bother people, nobody would bother you. There's a way to do commentary without being slick, shady, personal. Like, there's a way to do commentary without throwing jabs. And y'all constantly give commentary. That panel right there that did this live yesterday, y'all talk about people, you're nasty to people in the comments, all of these things, and then you expect people to turn around and not only sow into your platform, not only subscribe to your platform, but then come back to your platform after they've been treated like make it make sense. Like, for real, for real, for real. You talk about people, you talk under their clothes, you talk in their house, you talk across their pulpit, you talk about this, you talk about that, and then when people respond, then you become the victim. Well, I don't know why they doing this. Well, I know they don't like me, but I ain't never did nothing to these people. And I'm looking, and I've seen you talk about people. I've seen you dog people. I've seen you be nasty to people. I've seen you say certain things about people. So when you come back and say, I don't know, or why this, or why that, or I'm only doing this because they did this, you started it and some people are finishing it. But I think it is the pot calling the kettle black when it comes to this William McRae and Earl Carter things, because they are one and the same. And y'all talk about people. But now, because not only have they allowed Earl Carter back into the fold, y'all let Andrew Caldwell start preaching. And I really think, this is my personal opinion. If it's not what it is, then okay, but this is my opinion. And I think William is jealous. Could be, could be not. But I think William is jealous because he's saying, why am I? What did I? This is not fair. You, do you know how much stuff I know about pastors, preachers, bishops, leaders, evangelists, and thus forth and so on, and entertainers and musicians, be it gospel, R&B, whatever? You know how much stuff I know? Firsthand. Having the conversation with the person, being there when something happened. You will never hear me talk about it. I don't care if they still living or passed on. Some stuff you will just never hear me talk about. Stuff that I personally know about people. Even when people are doing commentary on it, I don't say nothing. So you can't throw rocks and then hide your hands and then be the victim. That don't work. Bishop Sheard is the leader. Bishop Sheard does not owe William McCray or anybody else really that's not on the general board any explanations for what he does. Right after the ball, William was on. I love Sheard. I went. I don't have nothing against him. Ada. And 48 hours later, now you talking about how crazy he is and he ain't a good leader and he need to do this and he ain't about to be there and he doing this. And then I heard somebody else come on William's show and talk about the service at GEI. I watched the entire service, and what people are putting out, I'm going to say this and I'm getting out of here. When you hear a story, if it's something that you don't know about and you're just hearing about it, do your research. Do your research. I was going to talk about this yesterday, right after the live of those three, but I went and did my research. And in my researching, the things that was said on that panel was not true. The things that was said on William's channel when he did his own live, some of that stuff was just not true. It was not true. We are, as a musician, a former minister of music, because I am not a minister of music right now anymore, there are some things that I'm not going to know. I don't care to know because I'm not in that position anymore. So you can't be that way and then expect sympathy from people. And then right after you rant and rave and you do this come to Jesus thing, you turn right around in the same live and do the exact same thing that you're being ostracized for. Listen here. I hope somebody else talks about it, because I would like to discuss with somebody else, and everybody doesn't have to have the same opinion to have a discussion. That's what discussions are for. You may see something some way that I never thought about seeing it, and vice versa having a conversation. So I'm about to get out of here. My client is ready. She's looking at me, so I'm about to bust up out of here. Please hit the like button on your way in, on your way out. Replay, please hit that like button. If you do feel so inclined, you can hit the Cash App. That's pinned. Cash App is $. It's Shun 74, ITSSHUN 74. Thank you for those that have already sent me a couple coins. I appreciate it. I love it. I love you from the bottom of my heart. Um, I will see y'all later somewhere, maybe. And I might see y'all tomorrow. Oops, look at me blow my own horn. Now she really ready. Bye.